Hey guys, how y'all doing? How's your day going? And if you're just starting, how was your night? Hope you had an amazing and a beautiful night rest. So today we are at day 5. Oh my god, we have gone about halfway through our Python 10 days crash course. So if you've missed all the days, leading to this, I'll link a playlist on one of the cards up here and at the ending of the video, so y'all can go check it out if you're interested in that. But yeah, let's jump right in. So today we're going to be working with files. Today's file handling. Now, when you're programming, I mean, you'd always need to make access to files because it's not every single thing that will be within your project. For example, when you're developing apps to play music, apps to PDF readers, stuff like that, you'd need to access documents. So I have here an input.txt, which is the document we're going to try and access. So I want us to print out every single thing from it. So there are two ways of working with files in Python. The first one is like I never use this one in my whole life. I don't like it. I never use it. But the first method is just calling the open function. So the way it works, you call a variable you want to assign the function in. You assign the open, so that is open, and inside your parentheses is going to be the name of the file. So this case is input dot text. Now, just side note, whenever you're working with files, just always treat them as list. If you override the list, then every single thing in the file is going to clear. If you append, then you're just going to be adding more details to the list. So let me just duplicate this just in case. Okay, so that if we make any changes, we can just get back the data. Right, so when you're opening files, there are certain things you should always pass in. By default, we have like we'll just have a comma you have here. So by default, we are working with R, which means to read. But if you pass A, that is to append. That means you want to just continue adding editing. If you have W, that means you want to write. You want to like make certain changes to different locations of your file. And then there's X to create a new file or returns an error if the file already exists. Okay, then you can also, there's also when you want to start working with binary, when you now start having BR read binary, RB read binary, WB write binary. Now you may be wondering, why don't I usually make use of this method? Because if I'm working with it like this, I must always call it f dot close. And I'm a very forgetful person, so I'll be working on my site and I'll just forget to close it. So, don't like get involved with that. But we are not asking what is the alternative if I don't want to if I don't want to make use of this method. Well, um there's the width function. So it's just is this is with, then you call open, you have your file name, you have the form you want to use and open it, and as f, that is the variable. So it's gonna be similar. The first one had f is equals to open, so this is basically the same thing. So we're working with f here and we're equating this open function to it. But the thing is that once I finish closing coding, I do not need to close it. I just need to come out from this indented place under it and just start writing on the same line as where the width was called initially. So let's access the input file. So we have input.text. Okay, so if I want to print, so I can easily do this read. What read does is it gets the information, so I can either read the whole document using f.read, or I can read lines to read each individual lines in the document. So if I want to print, so okay, this site is already retrieving for us, so we'll just print read. So let's just run it. So it's going to print the whole document. So you can see it's printing every single data that is present in the document. Well, read line, if you're using read line, you have to be calling each individual line. So usually if you don't know how long it is, you use for I in F. So we'll get to that. So let's use read line. So if we use read line, it's just going to read one element until we call it again. So let's run it. So you can see you only read the first one. But what we can do now, instead, we can say for I in F, because F is the variable we're assigning it into. They will now indent this one. So for every element, what we're basically saying is that for every element that exists in F, print it out. So print each line as they exist in F. So if we run, it's going to return every single element of our document. Okay. Um Now, what if you want to add something, add a new data into your element? So here, this we're going to change this because now we're only in read mode. I don't know if you know when you see your, but sometimes when you plug in your flash or your SD card into your system mostly, and you try to transfer data, like you can copy files out of it, but when you try passing files into it, you see like you're in read mode. So that is basically where we are now. We're in read mode, so we can only view the files, we can only gain data from it, but we cannot manipulate the data that is inside the file. So if we change it to append, that is just an A, we can now write into it. So if we want to write, we're just going to call the name of the variable we assigned it to dot write, and we're going to have our parentheses, and inside our parentheses, that is where we're going to pass in the function we want to input. We can just say, I don't know, hello world. So we have to run it first though. So let's run it. All right, now let's open our input file. So we used append. So append adds at the ending. I don't know if you remember it from list, although I've not really done list. So you can see down here, hello world. So there. Next, if you use w, so here we used append, which means we want it to just be adding at the ending of each of the file. If we use w though, it's going to override the whole file. So let's run that. So it's going to clear every single thing that exists in the file and replace it with whatever it is we called. So let's open our file now, and there we have it. So if you want to just add, like maybe you are working with a notepad, like I think we should do that, we should design a notepad. So if you are developing a notepad and you want the user, sorry, you want the user to create files of their own. Once they have created the files, you want it that if maybe they open it again and you want to edit it, you don't want them to overwrite every single thing that they have saved. So you open the file as an append, so it's just add at the ending of the file. Now, if you want to create a new file, so if you have not yet worked on the file before, so let's create a new file. So, first of all, let's get an error. So, if the file already exists and we pass in X, it should raise an error for us. So, let's run it. So, there we have it. File exists error. So, now if we were to change the name, let's just add an extra T and run it. So, now it should create a brand new file. So here we have it. I don't know if you can see it here. Input.text, and he appended the word we added to it. So let's just delete it because we don't need it. All right. Um, what else do we need to cover in this? All right. So what if we wanted to delete a file that we currently have in our system? So that one is just, this one is not even basic. Like this one, you can just use it without even opening up the file here. So let's just clear this out. So first of all, you need to import OS because now we're going to be working with with a function of our operating system. So you import OS. I don't know if you remember when we were working with modules. So this import OS is the type of modules we're importing. So we're now going to do OS dot remove. There are plenty other OS functions that we'll get into very soon later down the line. Like when we start working with sys, OS, both of them can work hand in hand. So os.remove, and we're just going to pass the name of the file we want to remove. So that is input.text. You need to pass it in as a string. Don't know why I keep forgetting to do that. So you can save it. Just looking at the side here. So he has removed it. Alright. So I think that should be everything. That should be everything dealing with files. And another thing you're doing is just you who be creative, like getting information from your files, saving it into a list. Okay, let's do that. So let's open a file and just push everything from the file into the list. So we'll say um so we want to split it at in every new line. So we'll say for I why am I not spelling anything well? For I in F, um we'll call a new list. Let's just call the list B equals to um okay, now let's set I into read. So let's say okay, yes, let's do this. So let's say I is equal to F dot read, then dot, I don't know if you remember when we were working with string handling. So dot split. I want to split at a new line. So you save your file and let's run it. So let's print the list so we can see what we just created. So let's um print I. So we can save that, run it. Oh, sorry, I didn't put it in string. I don't know why do I keep forgetting to pass these things as strings. Please try to always remember you should pass it as strings. Whenever you're working with a string, you should enclose it inside. Oh, I put X instead of R. Just making a lot of stupid mistakes. We don't want to create a new file. I want to read the file. I think that should be all. There we go. So I don't know if you look closely, you just see everything is separated by a comma now, which means everything has been pushed into a list and you just printed out all the output of the list. Here's the opening of the list where you have the square brace. So yeah, that's pretty much every single thing there is to know about file handling. Yeah, you can start working on more complex project. Like I said, I mentioned a notepad. So if you want us to create a notepad for your desktop app or for a control project, you can let me know. But until then, feel free to check out all the videos you missed and subscribe so you know when we upload a brand new video. Hope to see you guys next time. Have a nice rest of your day. Bye guys.